Hello everybody, welcome back and welcome to episode 5 of the TA Fit My Motivation podcast. In this episode I speak with Naomi Ogbeta, a under 23s triple jump undisputed champion. She basically doesn't really lose. She's got so many talents and skills in all walks of life. She really has an amazing attitude and amazing thirst for learning, and like I said in the podcast, when you listen, she's literally a master of all trades, not a jack of all trades. She's just about to compete in the deferred 2020 Olympics, the 2021 in Japan, and she's taking her video blog over with Team GP to allow us to tune in to watch the Olympics. So she's got so many things going for her. She's like I said, she vlogs, a video blog. She has a YouTube channel. She's a comedian. She's got a politics degree, amongst other things, and she works for several charities. And you can find out more about all the things that Naomi does on her website. And I'll leave a link in the description on my page on tafit.co. So if you want to find a bit more about Naomi and what she's getting up to, then you can feel free to do that. Again, like I said, she's an amazing woman, and at just 22 as well, she's got so many things going for her. I'm sure we'll be hearing the name Naomi Ogbeta for many years to come. So without any further ado, I just want to say that I'm really thankful for everyone who's listened so far and is continuing to listen. I really do get motivation when I see that there's repeat listeners, and it just makes it worthwhile for the time and the effort that you put into recording and editing these episodes, because they do take quite a lot of time and effort to get it right. So I just want to extend my thanks to everyone who's listening and keeps listening. And if you find anything useful at all in these podcasts, I'd just like you to share and tell someone about it, or just comment down in the comments box about what you liked, what you didn't like. I'd be happy to answer all questions, and so I can kind of improve what I'm doing. Obviously, it's just a learning process, just starting out, but talking to people who I'm interested in, so hopefully other people will be interested in it too. So yeah, without any further ado, here's episode 5 with Naomi Ogbeta. Enjoy. Right, so obviously there's so much to talk about, because you've got so many strings to your bow. People call me a bit of a jack of all trades, but you're like a master of all trades. you seem to have everything kind of going for you. So from triple jump, you've got your video diary blogs that you do. You've got your is it leaps and laughs? I've been I feel like I know you in a way now, because I've seen a few things that you've been doing. And then you've got obviously your politics degree that you did at Manchester, and you've got basically you're just a content creator as well, which is kind of what I think that's kind of more jobs are going into, content creating and that kind of niche market kind of thing. So kind of what the basis of what I've been doing is with this fitness mindset motivation is more for the fitness mindset motivation is it triggers a lot of SEO words, so that's a good thing. But it's more how I see fitness is, because I retired from rugby because of an injury, and I had to kind of fiddle my way through and find out how I should being taken away from a professional environment where I had so much structure to say, and then having to kind of put the pieces back together in terms of mentally, physically, and then kind of trying to structure my own, without a coach, trying to structure your own life again. And what my kind of the basis of this is to try and provide TA Fit, the website, is to try and provide a hub where people who are non-athletes as well as athletes can go and obviously see snippets of people talking, us athletes talking about their careers and their lives and how they manage to balance what they do, and how they manage to structure their days with their how they manage to stay focused day to day. And I want a place where people can then obviously share their kind of thoughts, and whether it might be your specific type of training for triple jumping, say, because triple jumping is quite a niche sport, and people might not have access to those kind of things. And I'd like obviously people to have access to everything, really, because it's a bit unfair. I see it still as a bit unfair that obviously if you're you could be someone who's super talented, but you've just not had the right coaching, or you've not had the access to the right coaching. And so what I'm trying to do in the bigger picture, my like kind of why is like kind of I want to be able to provide stuff for everyone free of charge, really, but and then have these conversations. So like I see fitness as basically you've got your physical side and then your metaphysical side. So you've got your, you know, your training, your coaching, your coaching for your chosen sport or your body type, or your diet, your those kind of areas. And you got your metaphysical, which is kind of your mindset and just where you're at, whether you can keep that focus. I'm just giving you all this now so that when you're answering questions, you can kind of refer back to those kind of points, really. But in general, I just want to conversate and just talk about all the things that you've got going for you, because you've had a lot of things that have happened and you're only at 22. So first things first, I want to go as a lighter note. Comedian, how did that come about? And Edinburgh Fringe Festival, was that nervous? Was that nervous being on that?
Yeah. For one, it definitely was nervous. Not as bad as triple jumping, though, I don't think. Actually, no, let me think. No, that was worse. Because obviously, if you're trying to make people laugh, we do improv comedy, so we're making up things like on the spot, and the audience would just suggest random locations or ideas to us. So obviously, if we don't make them laugh, like we've not done a good job. So that is quite nerve-wracking because you can't control how other people are gonna perceive you. But how I got into that was in uni. I just really wanted to join one of the societies when I first started, and I came across the comedy, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit different. And maybe I should just try it, just to try and see if I can get my confidence up and make friends and all that type of stuff." And it was on the same day where I had training, so I thought, "Oh, and I'll leave it." But then I kind of told my coach in like passing, and my coach said, "Oh, we'll change. What we'll do, we'll change the day that we train so you can do it." And I thought that I was like, "Oh, okay." So I actually tried it, but I'm really glad my coach did that because that was something that I kept going throughout my whole university experience, and it really helped me in so many ways. So maybe he kind of knew that was going to build my confidence, and he actually adjusted the training plan so that I was able to do something else.
Yeah, so I think like the sign of a good coach is to obviously be aware of like the bigger picture as well, because you're not just an athlete, you're a person as well. So I'm guessing that he knew kind of what was going to, the benefits of that would have been. But like I kind of in university, I wish that, because I had those problems where I was training full time rugby, and then it was like I'll join societies, and I always had that. It was more of almost an excuse, because I knew that to squeeze that extra bit of something in society today would be so hard. But obviously you've managed to do it. But like obviously you had a coach who was understanding, where I was in a team sport where you don't have understanding coaches at all.
Yeah, sorry guys, can't practice for the match. I'm going to do comedy. It's like,
yeah, I'm going to just do some comedy. Can I do that? No, mate, you're not going to play ever again. So sidestepping that then. So like what you did with your kind of time at uni, I kind of admire, because you've done so much when you've really bought into the idea of the university kind of becoming a well-rounded individual, which is like kind of what university's there for. And obviously kind of going into this next however long it's going to be with these kind of strange circumstances, it's going to be distance learning, a lot of Zoom calls and whatnot. Like kind of what advice would you give to those like kind of new students who are coming in, who are going to obviously not have that same kind of experience, but I still have a university experience, but still, you know, what advice would you give them?
I think the advice I'd give to students, I know I always think I just don't know how they're doing it in a way, because it's so different, and and I understand that it's difficult, but I think just to remember why you're doing university. And I think sometimes with university, it's not even just about you. It's like just having that little graduation picture on the wall in your parents' house, and that proud moment for all your family to know that you've sort of achieved something. So I think just trying to remember the reason why you're at university, and even if it's really difficult, just try to see it outside of yourself. And I think there'll be other ways that you can try and be social, even if it's on Zoom and doing like Zoom socials and stuff. But yeah, I think the main thing I'd say is remember why you're doing it, and even though it's hard, just try and keep focused on that.
Yeah, and I suppose like when I was my time there, like I didn't grab the bull by the horns enough, so I didn't like join societies, and like I wish I'd have done, because like all I was was surrounded by was sport, and then like anything outside of sport, I wasn't even like, because you're playing a team sport, like, oh, you can't go and do that because you might not be insured, or you might get injured or whatnot. But I think what you've done is you've just gone, whatever opportunity you've just gone, you kind of just gone yes to almost everything, and then you've just developed these skills of like almost everything you've done, you've kind of like done well at. So like, talk me through your like vlogs and your leaps and laughs, and you do that. Is that your boyfriend that you do that with?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did that start off and come about?
I don't even remember how we started it, but I think we just wanted to try and make like funny-ish content, which was kind of informative, mainly for like a younger sort of audience, just to be a bit more lighthearted and about athletics. Because sometimes it's so serious that people just don't really like have a laugh. So that's kind of why I wanted to do that. And then with the vlogging, I think one of my friends said that I should just keep showing the behind the scenes of competitions, because that's what people want to see. Like, it might seem mundane to me, but other people might think it's interesting. So I started doing these OGS vlogs, these 1 minute vlogs, going, with the European Championships, Athletics World Cup. I was trying to film every little bit with like a little GoPro, and editing it. And people seem to really like it, but at some points I felt a bit discouraged because I wouldn't get that many views. So I was like, oh, I don't know if people are actually enjoying it, but there'll be just one person who saw it, and it was someone from the university who saw it and asked if I could make one for the the Purple Run, for the Manchester Run. So I thought, yeah, I'll do a vlog for that. And then I was interviewed with BBC. I was interviewed by BBC, like on behalf of the uni. And then from then, uni were kind of encouraging me to do lots of different presenting things. So throughout my summer holidays, I was interviewing PhD students, professors, like all different people from the university. And kind of from that experience, I think that's how I managed to go to BBC and present for BBC Sport later on that summer. So it was definitely like, I started off doing it myself, but even though I wasn't getting many views, like the right people were seeing it. And that's why it created more opportunities.
Definitely. And like doing this kind of online things that like content creation, there's not much reward like at the time. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in terms of editing, and like those little kind of, when you really appreciate a good YouTube video now, because when you see these kids in America and you're like, man, that is a sick piece of editing. You've got like a sick camera and everything, and you're just like, oh, that would have taken so long for me to get together. Because like now you start to do it, and like one of my questions was, when you're getting these, you've got to be very forward thinking, haven't you? So like, you've got a camera, you've got a GoPro, and you're thinking, okay, should I get this scene here and we're walking past? And then, because you've got to like kind of, now obviously I'm in this world, you see behind the curtain, you've got to really piece it together in your brain, and where that's going to go there, you're going to put a little bit of a funny gif there, and then you're going to put some sound there. So yeah, it takes a lot of skill, Dan. I really do appreciate that. It is hard work. So what you're doing is good. So hats off to you. So this year has been crazy, to say the least. So obviously with the deferral of the so for those if people who don't know who you are, give a quick brief intro of like kind of, I know you're under 23s were champion, and your record is 14-15, is it? Yeah, 14-15. Bosh, remember. Like kind of, what kind of, where do you see yourself in terms of stature with the obviously the world triple jump like society kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm a triple jumper. I'm the 7 times British senior triple jump champion, and also like, I think maybe, I don't know how many times I've won the age group champions, but basically since under 17 until now, I've always been, pretty much.
I just don't lose.
So that's basically within Britain, and then within Europe, I'm probably like one of the top 10, and then in the world, I'm top 20 in triple jump. So, but slowly creeping up those rankings. And my aim is to go to the Tokyo Olympics in, I think, in July. I mean, it's meant to be. It's meant to have already been, all said and done, but nope, it's still going for that.
So like, obviously going from that, like, what's happened in terms of like, because behind, like you said, the behind the scenes kind of stuff. Because me being in a sport event, I'm a bit like green to athletics really. Obviously, I did athletics as a kid, but I wasn't at many meets and all that, so I don't know kind of what goes into it. Like, you have obviously your separate coach, but then you have your governing body, and what's gone on with like kind of how's the deferral happened, and how did it all, like, what's been said behind the scenes, and what's like kind of now moving from here to this point to Tokyo 2021? What's the process going to be?
So with the national governing body, they sort of set, like, they choose who's going to be like on funding and get all the support and things. So what they did is that they kind of froze it. So everybody who got support last year, they're not going to change it regardless of how your performance was this year, because obviously there was a pandemic. So I think that was really good of them to do that. But just looking forward, the elite athletes are able to sort of travel for competition. Like, everything's pretty much the same for us. We can train, we can travel, we can train in small sort of groups, things like that. But the main difference is that the way that they classified elite athletes doesn't include so many athletes, because, you know, so many people get involved with athletics from grassroots all the way up to professionals. And there's some British champions who can't train when there's a lockdown. So I think, you know, that there's still work to be done there. But for me, it's been pretty normal looking towards Tokyo.
And like, in terms of training wise, how have you kind of restructured what you've been doing? Like, because obviously were you in a bubble with your coach, or was it like, were you not, or like?
No, so it started off with the first lockdown. I just lost sort of all motivation. You know, when you're working so hard to qualify for the Olympics, and then it gets kind of taken away. I just didn't know what to do, and I think it kind of, I would say it affected me mentally, and I didn't really train. But then my agent told me that I've got picked for the Diamond League, which is one of the biggest like professional competitions you can do as an athlete. And I was like, okay, I need to quickly start working out again. Sick. So then me and my coach would we'd meet up in the park and things like that, and we'd just try and do what we could. Obviously with triple jump, you need the sand pit and everything, but we were just doing it in the park. Loads of people watching, people walking the dogs and just staring like, what is this girl doing? Bounding up and down the park. But so training was really difficult first lockdown, but with the second lockdown, I joined Block London, which is all like Pilates, yoga, core, everything. So I just do all that online. And then my training, I was able to access the facilities as normal because I got the elite athlete status. So yeah, it's been so much better second time round than first time. But
obviously no one was prepared for it the first time round. So
no, not at all.
Could call that. But like, so like kind of focusing on fitness side of things, what is kind of your kind of programming, like a weekly, you don't have to be so specific, but like kind of a weekly programming for a triple jumper, and obviously moving into the Olympic year?
Yeah, so my coach sort of divides like our training into blocks. So it's a 4-week block, and the first week is a recovery week, so we don't do much. And then we also have a rest on completely, like from Thursday until Monday, we have like a rest. Then the second week we have like a light week, then medium, then heavy. So right now I'm in heavy week. That's why I'm sat in bed doing this, because my legs are dead.
Chilling out. Compression socks on, ice packs, ice bath, all that.
But the training.
So sorry, from there down, it just is not going to be a pretty picture.
I'm in an ice bath right now.
Imagine Wim Hof breathing and everything. Sorry, go on.
No, but my training varies. It's a lot of gym work, obviously getting heavier as the weeks go. And then it's a lot of sort of, because with triple jump you want to get it precise just to get everything out of each movement. So it's a lot of flexibility, a lot of core strength, a lot of circuits, and then sprints as well to get that power. So it's just it varies between that, just the heaviness of it changes. But it's a really good method. I think it works. But when it's heavy week, it's so hard.
so like in terms of, okay, I imagine, I can see that it's a balance exercise as well. So there's a lot of like kind of strength, balance, kind of power. Do you have like a strength power day kind of thing where you have like, what I tend to do or I still do, but like on a Wednesday usually I do like a power, like stability. So I'll do like, say, I don't know, for example, so I'll do like cleans, a full clean into box jumps off on box step down, jump ups kind of thing, and then I'll do a kind of a compound movement with a stability or a fast switch movement. Do you incorporate those kind of things? Is that kind of standard back practice? Those kind of things?
Yeah, we do. So in the gym, we normally don't do too much in the gym. We'll do like 6 exercises, but some of them will be like single leg, so for balance and things like that. And then some of it will be really explosive, like the cleans. And then we also do like Bosu ball, like maybe single leg, medicine ball throws, and core workouts as well as your squats and everything like that. So it's a real balance of strength and then that stability, because with triple jump, you're going full pell and then landing on one leg. So you need that balance, or it's not going to be pretty, is it?
My hips would be dead. Like, I don't know how your hips aren't like absolutely bust up. But what would you say is like, so the percentage of actually practicing triple jump to actually training, if you know what I mean?
I'd say it's like 30%. The majority is, it's almost, that's what I'm kind of realizing now, because this is the first time I've really started implementing yoga and Pilates and everything. The mobility has had such a positive effect on my triple jumping than anything really. I mean, the gym's hugely important, which I found out after trying to do my Diamond League with no gym in my legs. It wasn't pretty. I think it's mainly everything you do outside to get that strength, because the triple jump, once you know how to do it, it's like riding a bike. But if you don't have that strength behind you, it's injury. It's not very far distances. So I'd say the practice of it, the actual jumping, we only do maybe twice out of the maybe 10 sessions of the week.
Right. So like, what the failure from a rugby standpoint was like, there's so many injuries in rugby because they negate mobility. It was getting better as I was coming to the end of my career, but like, it was still on your own back to do it, if you know what I mean. And then when people are going, oh, you got to go to yoga, or lads, you do this, you got imagine a group of 35 lads in a yoga room doing downward dog and XYZ movements with an instructor at the front as well. It doesn't go down too well. You don't get much done. So like, we didn't really do much mobility work, and hence I've got these hip problems. But like now, since I've stopped, I've decided to research into loads of different ways of like trying to treat it, and it's all just movement based and like distractions, physio obviously, but all these things are like, it's about like opening up, just getting space within the socket basically, that because you there's like 24 different muscles around your glute and your quad that over tighten when you're not supple, when you're not moving. So I'm guessing that all those things that you're doing will definitely help you later on in your career, because you're just only 22. So just definitely stick at them, because you don't want to be having an operation like me. That's just honestly the worst thing. I just advise no one to ever get a hip operation. I was just told to like, oh yeah, do this, you'll get back in 6 months, and then never. It's been 3 years. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there now. I'm starting doing triathlons, and I'm okay single, like playing the movements. I just can't change direction anymore. But it is what it is. But anyway, right, let's go on to your degree. Let's go boring onto your degree now. I want to talk politics with you. What was the degree about? And then also, in light of the degree, like obviously you've just graduated out. Was it last year?
Or this year ago,
yeah. So you've graduated last year. Kind of what your thoughts around politics in the world? I know that's a broad question, but there's a lot going on, and like the whole Trump era and whatnot. What the hell? Just any insights into what you think in terms of Brexit, in terms of Trump, in terms of just give me a snapshot of about 4 or 5 points that you can, that was like really either annoyed you or has really like thought there might be some light at the end of a tunnel, that very dark tunnel.
Right. Well, I studied politics and quantitative methods. So that was basically just politics and then statistics, being able to analyze data and put it all into graphs and show people basically. So I really enjoyed my degree. It was definitely challenging. The math side of things is never my strongest point, but I really wanted to challenge myself and learn something really new. But I think I definitely have studied politics in the most interesting time ever. That's kind of what I think. I think before I studied it, because I studied at A level, so I think it was 2014 was when I first started studying it, and I didn't really care that much about politics. I know a lot of young people didn't seem to really care much about it. The 18 to 24-year-olds had like the lowest voting sort of turnout, and now kind of being in 2020 and looking at how things are. The young people almost leading the scene when it comes to politics, and you see it with the protests, and you see it with all the petitions. I'm seeing 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds putting all these petitions on the Instagram stories and Snapchats, and I'm like, how's everybody so into politics now? So I think even though there's been a lot of interesting things happen with, you know, Brexit, Trump, just everything, the Scottish referendum, like it's been the most crazy couple of years. And I think it's the good thing that's come out of it is that so many young people now are really interested in politics, and they're the people who are going to shape their future. So hopefully things will get better. So that's my positive outlook on politics.
I think that they can only get better. That, like,
they have to. It has to be up there.
It's got to be like, you've got Trump, like the Trump regime. It's like, it is like a regime. It's like a dictatorship. He was just absolutely mental. And like, when you've got someone trolling people on Twitter as a president, I'm like, what is going on? And like, it was just allowing it. Like, what? Why were they allowing it? I don't understand. I just don't get what was going on. It was just like, it was almost like especially with what was going on with this year, I just thought, is this actually mental? This is just real. Is this actually real life? It was actually just mental. So, right. So going on to like kind of the bigger picture of Naomi, kind of you've got you as the triple jumper, you got you as your extracurriculars, your vlogging, your website kind of thing. So bringing it all together, obviously triple jumping is obviously what you want to do, and you want to be like super successful. You want to be hopefully gold medalist. You want to knock off that Venezuelan girl. I can't remember her name. I did obviously Google it, but I can't remember her name. You want to knock her out, and then we want to have a gold medal GB. But obviously, once all that is wrapped up and you've done all that, what kind of do you want to get out of like kind of life in general, kind of moving forward? Because I see a lot of people. The reason I'm asking it, see a lot of people who are so goal orientated on big goals, and they're not got these little goals, and they're not trying to think of a broader picture and a broader outlook on life, which is like kind of I'm sound like a wise old some kind of wizard man here, but because of I've gone through these times, I know now, and I can kind of talk about it. So what is your kind of broader outlook on life aside from triple jumping, obviously with triple jumping?
I think so. Just like this year, I started, from last September, as soon as I graduated, I started like working with young people. I was going into schools, working with kids who were at risk of exclusion, year 8 and year 9 boys. So that was definitely out of my comfort zone. But I think from there, it was just, I learned so much. And like, even though I was meant to be kind of helping them and teaching them and stuff, I ended up learning loads, because, you know, you start to realize about how much, like, how do I word it? It's sort of how external circumstances can affect the path that young people end up on. And I think all I want to do is to change that. I don't know how yet, but I really want to make it so that there really is more of a level playing field. So it doesn't matter where you're from, where you grew up, what color you are, anything like that, that shouldn't stop you, because some of these kids are so talented. Maybe they're so good at sports, so good at even, you know, smart, whatever, but they just don't have the right environment to help them thrive. So I don't know yet, I haven't pictured it, but whether that's with my media, whether that's with my sport, to try and encourage these young people to get to where they can get to, that's it. But
that's the bigger goal. But like it's almost, it like kind of marries up with what I'm trying to do in a way. Like I have that kind of bigger purpose of like, you do want to help people, and you do want to give people equal opportunities, but like in terms of like, I didn't have access to certain coaches, or didn't have access to certain mental help, or like there's certain issues that everyone have, and everyone's issues are their own issues. So everyone has a trauma. So say someone breaks around, that trauma, if that's the worst thing that's happened to them, and they've dealt with that in a negative way, then that is their trauma, that's their problem. Like that is what they need nurturing, and it's not for someone else to be like judgmental and go, oh well, you've only broke your arm, because that's their experience. That's not happened to anyone else. So like obviously there's people who have like super traumatic childhoods and even worse things you can't even like imagine, but then they still they're the people who you want to be able to say, look, as a platform for you, if you want to do this, I can provide X, Y, Z. And like that, it seems like a similar kind of balance. Maybe that's like I don't know, maybe it's just like Maybe it's a sport thing. Maybe we're just too many strings to our bow. We just want to help people. But but yeah, I think it's on a similar kind of wavelength. I think. And was that thing that you did, the charity thing for the foot? Is it football? Was it?
Football beyond borders.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
But
cool.
it went because I'm not a footballer, obviously, but my brother plays football. But I just wanted to see, what can I give to these young kids who are obsessed with football? Like, that's their dream. But obviously, I'm not. But it's like I can still go from my experience and try and tell them, like, okay, this is how I dealt when I was under pressure, and how can you put that onto the pitch? Because half of it was in the classroom and half of it was on the pitch. But I think one of my favorite sort of memories was we did like a little radio workshop where we got the young people like if it was over the week, the half term. So it's the fact that they engaged so much that they even wanted to do it in the half term. And we got them to make their own radio show about any topic they wanted to do with football. They got them in a proper radio studio, and some of them went from like, they were all Salford kids, like having like no confidence, didn't want to do it, it's cringy, it's embarrassing. They're presenting with the headphones on, the mic in front of them, and just seeing that, even though it's nothing to do with football, it's nothing to do really with sport in that sense, but they really got out of their comfort zone. And if sometimes, I don't know if it's where I'm from, like kids, even when I was growing up, you feel so embarrassed to be slightly different to anyone else because you're just gonna get teared for it. So just to see them come out of the shell was really cool. So yeah, I want to do more stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think like moving forward in terms of having a well-rounded, right. So what I'm trying to say is, you have these superstars who come from who can rise up through the rankings and not have that kind of support system because they are super talented, and sometimes that's super lucky, and like that does happen. But then like on there is obviously those people who are almost as talented or just as talented, but not had that same pathway, but have less support or less support system, or someone's not noticed them. I think that's what we're kind of trying to get at there, is that there is those people who will slip through the net because you're just so lucky to be seen by someone. If you have been like seen, you've just been amazingly talented in the right place, right time. But then there is those people who are just as talented, but just haven't had that opportunity. I think so. That's sick. That I didn't even know that you. Well, I knew that you did a bit of charity work. I didn't know that it was that. That's sick. I'll be interested to speak about that after this if you want to. Right. So 2021 Japan. What are your thoughts and what are your goals?
So my thoughts are, I hope it's going to happen. I think it will, but they're not like, by now I want to be like, they're saying it's 110%, you're getting footage of them sorting everything out, but right now it's like, we're not seeing much yet. So hopefully
is it CGI footage, AI? I'm just robots.
Surprising.
Footage. Go on.
But so I'm hoping it's happening. I'm training harder than I've ever trained, and I feel like I'm just in a better place than I was in all the other years as well. So I'm just hoping to, I don't even know what I'm hoping, but it's almost like sometimes I don't want to say it because but I'm just hoping to do well. I'm hoping to do GB proud. That's it. So yeah, we'll see. But I know.
But if you don't, thing is though, if you don't say it, then you're putting it on a pedestal, and you're not visualizing the result. You've got to visualize that goal. Visualize that medal. You got to visualize it. You know what?
That'll be my New Year's resolution, to be able to say what I want to achieve out loud. Sometimes
because you're not like. You're not big-headed. You're not trying to say. I know where you're coming from. You're not being like, oh, I don't want to say that I'm really good, because you are obviously like super talented.
Put them shoes on and try again. Sorry to that guy.
No, it's just a little bit. I suppose obviously with technology, these kind of things are gonna happen, but it's kind of a little bit like bittersweet in terms of, in fact, because the shoe that actually did a lot of the damage in terms of the damage, a lot of, I like Nike, so I know, but the shoe that did a lot of like that broke a lot of the records has actually been reduced in size now, and it's been reduced, the carbon thing's been reduced, so the actual, because the amount of spring that they're allowed has been actually reduced now, so not even allowed. So I think it's more of just a bittersweet thing. I just wanted to hear if there's any like uproar behind scenes about it, because I'd
want them to make triple jump ones with a spring in it. That'd be good for me.
Yeah, just on a pogo. Right. So before you go, what do you want to say? Obviously, plug your site and bits and bobs before you go.
So first, thank you for having me on this podcast. I've really enjoyed it, so shout out to you. And then also my website is called 3 Point Start. That's sort of telling athlete stories and interviews, videos, everything like that. And then also my social media is just my name, Naomi Ogbeta, and check out the YouTube, Leaps and Laughs.
Gosh.
And yeah, I think, is that everything? I feel like there's something else, but yeah, we'll go with
Probably
that.
isn't, but you know what I'll do? I'll do a write-up, and then I'll put it on my
Yeah.
website, and then everyone can send me links, and then if there's anything you forgot, you can just chuck it on there, and people can discover more about Naomi Ogbeta. And good luck in 2021 and training up until then. Thanks again for everyone for listening to episode 5 with Naomi Ogbeta. I hope you got some useful information there, and I know I did, and it was a great episode to speak to her. And it was even though we had a couple of technical issues and the screen cutting out, but we managed to smooth over and get through it at the end. But yeah, I want to wish her and Team GB all the luck that possible for the 2021 Olympics in Japan. And I'm really interested to see how this video diary is going to go with Naomi. And I think that in recent weeks she's been doing more and more towards the vlog series. So really keep an eye out for Naomi. And what I'll do is I'll link to Naomi's website and with the charity Football Beyond Borders, so you can find out for yourself more about what Naomi's doing and follow her journey and Team GB's journey, and we can all get behind her. So yeah, thanks to Naomi. Up in episode 6, I speak with a good friend of mine, QLT, ex-teammate of Sheffield, and we just had a really good catch up. It was just a bit of a two-way conversation, and we covered so many bases, so many things. I think we ended up speaking for over an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. I had to cut it down in places. So yeah, there's some really good knowledge, there's really good information in there about rugby, about outside of rugby, about his life, how he progressed from Australia over to Sheffield, and everything in between. Family, we go into his culture. There's everything in there. So tune back in next week for that long form discussion with my good friend QLT. And again, I'd just like to say thank you so much for your time, and for those who keep listening. I will be posting more regularly on a Monday now, just to keep it consistent for everyone, so they know that it's what day things are going to come out on. So yeah, again, thank you, and I'll see you next week.